Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Around the Tabletop with Blue Hand Gamers. We have another full man crew this week to review the second part of Fallout, a Bethesda game. I'm not going to go over everything like I did the last time because that is on another episode. So I'm going to hop right into questions this time. So everyone knows who's with us. We have Brion.
Hey.
We have Colron.
Hello.
And we have Cymrych.
Hello.
And myself, Katfish. So let's start off here. Question number 1. Let's go with the old classic. What was your strategy to win, Cymrych?
Well, I started with an agenda card for the railroad. So I tried to pick up some additional agenda cards while trying to stay true to that, the original railroad card. But Brion kept stealing all the side quest agenda cards. So my strategy was to try to just make the game last longer so that I actually had a chance to win.
It was Institute because I had Institute too.
You both had Institute to start with?
Yeah.
You went railroad?
Yeah.
The stars were the railroad. The shield was the Institute.
I thought it was the other
I'm
way.
done.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, because remember the one quest had us kill all of the shields on the.
Yeah, and I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking the shields were the railroad.
I was about to say, I was about to be really upset for a second.
I mean, we did start with the same thing because that's how we both scored points off of that.
Right. Well, Brion, what was your strategy to win?
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily had a strategy. I just kind of was playing, exploring as much as I could, not being able to move very far, realizing that completing the side missions is what gets you the extra victory point cards, basically. Went after them as hard as I could.
Yeah, you did go in for them side quests pretty hard.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't help with the main quest very well, not being able to move very much.
Colron?
First off, I want to say I think it's adorable you think I had a strategy. It was pretty much, I started leveling and I was trying to quest some, but I just didn't get any quests going. And then it was just explore the map so that I could at least achieve the one victory card that I had, which was to explore all the map, or at least all but one. Came close. I mean, once we started working with the railroad, those of us that worked with the railroad, I mean, it went pretty good. Just there was no stopping the Brion machine.
No, there wasn't. At some point, I was just like, I want to discover as much about this game as I can because it ain't happening. Yeah, I don't really think I had much of a strategy coming into this game either. I kind of came in with an open mind and just wanted to have some fun and do what I typically do in Fallout and explore and just kind of kill things. Being the ghoul, having a little bit less health than everyone else was a little bit tough, but I got the bonus of healing in radiated areas, which was nice. That helped me out and I didn't have to camp as much.
Hey, you did play very true to your vilified.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I think I even kind of whispered in a few ears when you guys were making decisions and got a couple of to do some things. All right, so on to number 2 here. What tip would you give someone new to the game? Brion, let's start with you.
So, a tip. I would say, depending on, don't necessarily worry about leveling because I didn't really do much of that till the end of the game. Them side quests, doing the side quests is what gets you, the victory points. I would say rush those and do whatever you can to get a weapon because I'm sure it would have been very helpful to have one of them that whole game. I think that'd be tips for me, the best I could think of.
Unless you get a synth rifle. Synth rifles are Booty. Don't get one.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have one the whole game, so.
You had to pay bottle caps every time you took damage to keep the gun.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Brian was just marching around in his power armor, talking sternly to people.
Yep. Damn straight.
Like the Brotherhood does.
Mhm.
Very in character.
Oh, look at that! Without even knowing my character, I was able to role play properly.
Colron, what's a tip you would give someone?
Gear up as fast as you can. Find a follower that gives you some good synergy and use. And then, then smash those quests.
Who was the follower that you had?
Hancock.
Hancock, yeah.
And what did he allow you to do? Because that was a pretty good companion.
He let me move a bad guy 2 spots towards me. And if they came into my spot,
No?
You had to target something within 2
Oh, within-
spaces, and it moves it directly into your space to fight. We actually messed that up at one time. You moved a ranged enemy 3 spaces away, 2 spaces towards you, and then fought at ranged. But
Whoops.
ultimately, all that matters is we're having fun, and we learn from it. I
Correct.
noticed that during the editing and figured I'd bring it up.
But regardless, that was still a powerful companion.
Oh,
To be
yeah.
able to bring people to you like that, you're a glorified scorpion.
Get over here.
Cymrych, any tips you would give anyone?
Well, first off, I want to apologize for yawning so much. We all 4 work full-time jobs and do this as well. And I had a long day with very little sleep. So I'm sorry for yawning a lot. However, my tips, I have a couple. 1, know your end game. I've only played this game a couple of times, and the one time I never made it to the end of the game. And the other time before that was 2.5 years ago. As with anything, you go without playing for a long time, you tend to forget things, and how to end the game, I forgot. When we started playing it again, I was so confident that I knew what was going on that I didn't even think about it. So remember, look up how many points are necessary to end the game, and that is how the game ends. The moment any player reaches that score, you just tell people immediately, hey, game's over, I got the points necessary. And then any other player that also meets that point level also can win.
We were still
And-
having fun playing though.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just be careful and read everything you can, because there's a lot of cards that have confusing or contradictory rules. Overall, just have fun. Because like one of my biggest golden rules is just like, and I'll reference it forever, the Cthulhu Wars rule book. You bought the game. It's your game. Play it how you want to play it. If you have a confusion or an issue with rules or timing, it's your game. Have fun, because ultimately that's all that matters.
That's right. It is ultimately, that's what matters. You just got to have some fun. So that's what it's about. So number 3, how would you describe the character balance? Let's start with Colron.
super mutant good, all others not good. No, I think the characters are pretty well balanced with their abilities, and I mean even their flaws work out ultimately. I mean the power armor that Brian had, it's really good armor, but that penalty to moving really hurts.
It does really hurt, but it also was a benefit at some point too.
A
So
He
lot of
hardly got
points.
hurt.
Yeah.
He hardly got touched.
Right.
I only rested once that whole game. And I
Most well rested.
well, Cymrych, what do you think?
See, I differ a little bit on the balance between characters. I love the fact that they're all different and they all have their own special starting something. But personally, I think the ghoul is nerfed pretty hard with only having 12 health. And there are very few radiated zones until you start going into the red exclamation point tiles.
Mhm.
So if you start finding some 2 or 3 level things, they're going to start beating you down heavily. And the Vault Dweller, I did not play very well, but could be one of the most potentially powerful characters because that starting vault suit they have allows you to equip a second piece of armor as well. And it's a unique asset, the T60 power armor. But if I could have gotten that, it's straight up 3 additional armor. Very little would have hurt me
Mhm.
with the built-in 1 armor of the vault suit.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they're all situational at best, such as I'd have to find good armor in order to equip 2 pieces of armor. But I think there's a little bit of chaos between the balancing, but it doesn't ruin the game. Every character is wildly different. I think it's great. I wouldn't say it's super balanced though.
I would agree with that statement. Brian, what are your thoughts?
That's a good point. I was thinking they're pretty well balanced because like the ghoul, you didn't have to worry about, the irradiated zones. I guess you do have, what's that? That's like 4 less health or something like that than
Yeah.
everybody else. That hurts, especially if you can't get above it. And even
Mhm.
more so if you can't find a good armor.
That was one thing I got lucky on is I did get a good armor.
Yeah. Yeah, but you like I started with armor. Cymrych starts with armor. So it's like it's hard to say. I would say once you get to mid game, you kind of feel like it's more balanced because your abilities, like the ones that don't start with armor, your abilities have had time to do something. Gain you a bunch of extra XP going through irradiated zones or healing going through irradiated zones. But I would say like early game, my guy's probably the most OP because I can just roll through enemies. I mean, I didn't fight, but I probably could have if I could have gotten a weapon because I wouldn't have taken any damage. Early game, when you don't fight anybody that's got like a 3 power, everybody's 1 or 2, you have to roll a bunch of hits to take any kind of damage. And that's how I got through there without having taken like hardly any damage.
And
Right.
drugs.
Yeah, and drugs. Drugs help too.
We here at Blue Hand Gamers do not condone drugs.
I'll tell you, one
I
thing
said
about the
just-
power armor that I was kind of surprised that they didn't work into the aspect because they worked a lot of things into this game was in the video game, you actually have to keep your power armor charged in order to use it. So the fact that you were able to continuously hold on to that power armor,
could be why I could only move 1 space at a time.
that's
Maybe
probably how
so,
they
like-
try to down it a little bit by making
Yeah.
it heavier.
The second space was me recharging it basically instead of because everybody else gets 2 movement action or what are movement points per move action, and I only get 1. So like my second one spent recharging. That's probably a safe way to do it instead of sticking like 1, random recharge spot under one of the or hexagons. Like you might never see it, and
Right.
then the armor you start with maybe you only get to use for a couple turns. That's kind of rough.
I think, don't they take power cells?
Yeah.
That's what I
Fusion
thought.
cores.
Fusion cores, that's what it is. Yeah.
Well,
So like
Heck,
you
the way
could
they-
you could charge it at like a station by like taking it to a thing and like fixing your armor, and usually you get like your armor powered back up, or you could swap out a fusion core on your armor and then be at full power. I don't know, some I was just kind of thinking about when we were talking about your armor, because your armor kind of got brought up on a little bit of everyone's
That's-
points.
yeah, I mean it's a pretty broken thing to start with, really, especially when as long as you don't run into a bunch of red areas right off the bat. Which
Right.
the way it looked, I don't think you could get completely blocked in. Like I know I had a big wall I had to avoid going up to try to get around to get over to the blueprint thing. I mean, I even be able to pay money to get over that hump. Like maybe my character was a little broken. Because if you have any source of funds, I can move the same as everybody else, and I have like the most defense, unless like Cymrich's character would have gotten one of the big armors, which I'm sure they all cost a bunch too.
I'm sure. Mine was 10, so it's probably a 12 or 15 spot. So
That might be a new something I didn't like about that game. It's really hard to get money.
bottle caps are tough to come by.
Yeah, I bet Colron, I know. Draw all the discard for three caps.
All right, let's push this on to the last question here. How was it working with a limited inventory space? Cymrych, we'll start with you.
That's another one of those things we forgot about and then had to figure out halfway through the game. But yeah, after we figured out that the inventory space starts at a default of 3 and anything past that immediately gets discarded. I think Brion's the only one that actually had a whole lot of suffering from that.
Yeah.
Until he got the load lifter companion, that is. But it really makes you think about what you need or want to keep based on what you want.
Yeah, it does make you think about that. And I didn't really run into the issue a whole lot to where I had to make that decision. I'm not even sure. I think I ran into it one time, and it was only when I was at a shop or something, or I gained a whole bunch of items.
Yeah.
So
Like you were shopping.
yeah.
It's like you immediately sold something to cover up the too many things.
Colron?
Any game I play, I'm a pack rat. So 3 items is really tough for me. But I don't think I really suffered too much from it because items are kind of tough to come by in the first place. You might get a few usable items, but I wasn't doing a whole lot of shopping because I wasn't really in town a whole lot and doing quests and all. 3 items is tough. That's tough. But in this game, it's not undoable.
This game, it's not undoable. If it was a game where you find tons of loot all the time, that would be kind of nasty. Only being able to carry 3 things, I think. Brion?
It's really tough when you have a victory point card that says have 3 or more drugs in your inventory, and you're also addicted. So once you draw the drugs, you can't get rid of them. And yeah, not that I wanted to. Like I wanted 3 so I could get, but I had to wait to. So I kept trying to shop because I wanted to get that droid that gave me extra space. So like this is gonna be my only way to carry anything other than drugs. Because that did end up hurt me because I ended up losing that that tuxedo, I can't remember, formal wear, which was gonna be my way to like cheat, keeping the person that would let me ignore the red areas basically. But then
Preston Garvey.
yeah, so I had to get rid of that as soon as I got drugs. And that was only, but then like right after that, I got the droid, of course. So
Right.
no, it didn't hurt me too much because I wanted the victory point. The victory point was going to help me more than the fancy suit.
I don't think I really have much else to say on this topic because I really didn't run into this issue too much. But I know you guys each kind of ran into this issue a little bit. In all seriousness, I had a lot of fun playing with you guys. Is there anything else that you guys want to close on this with?
It's a great game. It's a little complicated. You have to stick with a couple of the rulings on the cards, but it's definitely worth a play. I would say best played with 1 or 2 players. But if you have a whole group of people that are willing to put forth the effort and the longevity of the reading of cards, I had a great time with 3 other players. So enjoy it. Have fun. It's a great game. By Bethesda.
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun playing that 4-player. I could see how like 1 or 2 would also be cool, but I don't know. I think having the big group was a lot of fun.
Having that interaction makes it a little bit more fun. Colron?
What?
Anything you'd like to close out on?
Thank you to everybody viewing and subscribing. And if you haven't viewed or subscribed, I will thank you ahead of time. Let it be known what games you want to see. If it's one we don't have, we can get it. If we do have it, we can make sure it gets in the lineup.
Yeah, we can. And speaking of lineups, I will let everyone know that the winner for this week was Wingspan.
Surprise!
Yep. So
birds
Wingspan
won.
won. I was butchering the name of it earlier. Vindication was second. Tidal Blades was third, and Pandemic was fourth. What did I say wrong?
When we were on the phone earlier, what did you keep calling it?
I can't remember what I called it.
You kept calling it Vindicate or no, you kept calling it Vindiction.
Vindiction.
That's what you kept saying.
I knew I kept calling it something wrong, and I was like, that's not right.
We were on the phone earlier and he kept talking about Vindiction. I'm like, he's talking about Vindication? Colron's game? Yeah, Vindiction. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna let him go with that.
Well, I've been wanting to check out Wingspan anyways. I've seen a lot of people talking about it online. Sounds like it's an interesting game.
Oh yeah.
Yep, it's really neat. I'm excited for you guys to get to try it. But we are running out of time, so I'm gonna let everyone say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, I'll miss you.
See ya.
Have a good night, everyone.
On to the next one here.
That'll get cut.
No, gotta
It'll be
keep
on
it.
the end. Wait,
There we go.
wait till you see my last one I got here for you. I think my last and final question number 5 is, you guys wearing pants?
Why would I
No,
be wearing pants?
If you're not wearing pants, give me an oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You can change that. I mean, it's cold down here in the basement, but
Yeah, I gotta counteract the fact that I'm like sweating in this shirt.
I was a little nervous because you have the meat flap in the front. If anything would have came out, I would have not cut that out.
I got loungy shorts on. They're fine.
Oh man. No, all right. Let me kind of get comfortable here on my knees. I'm ready.
keep it clean.
I don't think, like Brian was saying, it's necessary to try to really power level. I think I was trying to go attack heavy with the ghoul, and I don't think that was a great thing to do. Kept losing on a lot of my attacks because I'm booty with the dice, but I mean, it is what it is. Maybe if you're not a good roller, don't be fighting. That's my tip.
Yeah.
Not wrong.